Hello everyone. Welcome to part 2 of Can We Switch the Food challenge. Brought to you by me, who definitely needs some angst challenge after all this fluff. So, as always, special thanks to my lovely patrons and all of you who still watch my videos. Don't forget to subscribe to keep up with the uploads, and let's get into it, shall we? While the worst tension disappeared from the air after the last hospital visit 2 days ago, Kunime couldn't stop thinking. It stole his already scarce sleep, following him every waking moment of his day. Though, no wonder, it was a difficult decision. Getting a baby into their little family was not what he expected to be dealing with for at least another few years. And yet he was now put on the spot of making the tough call on whether to try going ahead with the adoption or not, while keeping in mind that a refusal on his side would most definitely break Kindaichi's heart. But on the other hand, he couldn't decide based on that. He couldn't risk the baby would potentially suffer in their care just because he didn't want to disappoint Kindaichi. Why does fate have to be so cruel? Wasn't that car crash enough? He sighed heavily and continued to push the pieces of chicken around on his plate, his appetite all but gone. Why, just why couldn't he have a better example growing up? Maybe it would make the decision that much easier. Okay. His eyes snapped up, meeting with Kindaichi's clearly concerned gaze. Oh, sorry. Were you saying something? No, but I can see something's wrong. He reached over the table to cover Kunime's hand, the warm touch chasing away some of the invisible cold creeping through his body. Do you not like the food? You barely touched it. Not really. Would you mind switching with me? With a soft smile, Kindaichi pushed his plate towards Kunime without protests, taking his in return. Yet he clearly wasn't content with that result, as he still didn't let go of his hand. Nor did he stop watching him with concern written all over his face. But that's not all, is it? Something troubles you. Is it about Hiroto? Are you still not sure I'm telling you the truth? No! I mean, yes, I trust you, I know you want a kid, and I would love to fulfill you that wish. I just don't know if I can handle it. He instinctively cowered a little and averted his eyes, worried what he could find if he looked up. But to his surprise, Kindaichi just patted his hand before bringing it to his lips to leave a kiss on his fingers. I understand. You don't have to decide immediately. It's going to take some time before he's cleared for adoption anyway. Just please promise me you'll decide for yourself, not because of me. I'm not going to get upset if you say no. Kunime paused, once again reminded of Kindaichi's ability to predict his thought process. It was a little scary in a way, but calming at the same time. And so he squeezed Kindaichi's hand and nodded, finally taking a deep breath after what felt like days of getting strangled. I'll keep that in mind. Since they usually didn't eat out or ordered any takeout, Aona had to find an alternative for doing the challenge. And so he decided to adjust the challenge condition a little for himself and prepared 2 different meals, making sure both were something each of them enjoyed. The last thing he wanted was the challenge to turn sour because Kenji would end up hungry. He put extra effort into everything, hoping a nice dinner could soothe the strange, heavy atmosphere that settled in their home after yet another rejection. He tried not to bring the mood down, but judging by how Kenji looked at him sometimes, it didn't work out well. It pained him to see his beloved so dejected all the time because of something he wanted in the first place. He even caught himself several times wondering whether he should just give up on the idea of taking a child under their wings, at least for now. But Kenji always reassured him it was fine and that they should continue on. If his tense smile and avoidance of eye contact could be considered reassuring. He's trying so hard to be supportive he neglects his own comfort. How is that fair? You should do better than force his hand. After all, what was his happiness worth if it was bought out by his partner's discomfort? Making a mental note to think about things more, and hopefully come up with some solution later, he served the food as pleasingly as he could and then called Kenji to come to eat. Oh, already? I didn't even fold half of it. Aona smiled and gently ruffled Kenji's hair. Laundry can wait. Ooh, are we celebrating that you made a feast? He sat to the table, his eyes actually sparkling as he took in the food, looking like a little kid in Candyland. Adorable. He followed suit and settled down too, taking a bite before he turned to Kenji again. Oh, I'm sorry, I actually meant to give you this one. Kenji froze with the chopsticks halfway to his mouth again, quiet leaving his mouth as he looked down on his plate. Sorry, I didn't mean to gulp it down so fast. It's really good, you know. Never mind. Here. Disappointment almost seeped from him, the sight breaking Aona's heart a little. What was supposed to make the challenge easier on him turned sour anyway, guilt stinging in Aona's chest as he stopped Kenji's hand. Don't worry about it. Finish it if you like it. But it's yours, no? I shouldn't. Don't worry about that. I want you to enjoy it, so if you like this one, keep it. Kenji still looked hesitant, glancing at him a few times before he pulled the plate back to him, and even before he started eating again as if to make sure he could for real. The rest of the dinner was alright as Kenji talked away as usual, but Aona wasn't blind. He saw the uncertainty in his fiancé's motions, saw the glances to the side, and he would gladly kick himself. Under any other circumstance, Asahi would probably be concerned about Noya spending so much time in the kitchen while forbidding him from going anywhere near it for the time being. However, this time it really played into his hand. He just hoped Noya wasn't cooking anything with bugs in it like a year ago. That wasn't a pleasant discovery, although he had to admit the food tasted pretty good. But tasting it one time was enough. He crossed his fingers under the table, hoping the nice scent that had filled the air about half an hour ago was something to go by, and continued on his latest work in the meantime. If he doesn't tell me what's in it, at least I can be sure it's going to be good. He improved so much since he started traveling. He smiled fondly and turned his full attention to the fabrics in front of him, working slowly and diligently to pin them in the exact way he wanted. He had to put his all into this project since his client put her full trust into him. He completely forgot about time and space until his favorite little Tasmanian devil appeared in his field of vision. Come on, lunch is ready. Oh, already? Yep, and you gotta taste that, come on. He grabbed Asahi's hand and tugged him towards the dining table, and Asahi couldn't but chuckle at the little wine Noya let out when he took his time to carefully store his tools before following. His mouth watered upon just seeing the various dishes on the table, the mix of spices and herbs tickling in his nose. Oh wow, you went all out today. Noya grinned and pushed him into the chair. Of course, I need to test out as many recipes as I can while I have time. I'm sure you tested them already. Well, yeah, but not when no one looked over my shoulder. He pushed one of the plates to Asahi, his eyes almost sparkling with excitement and expectations. Go on, try this, it's amazing. Actually, could I maybe get the one you have? Noya paused, his gaze falling on the bowl in front of him before he shrugged. Sure. There was something in Noya's eyes that stopped Asahi for a beat. Something hidden in the little quirk of his smile when he handed him the bowl that raised the warning bells in his mind. Yet he shrugged it off, reminding himself he had nothing to worry about from Noya, and then dug into what looked like a meat stew. The moment he took the first bite, his throat exploded in what could only be described as hellscape. Tears entered his eyes, his whole mouth burning as if he just swallowed live fire. What is that? Noya's cackling pierced through the mists and at him by the hell in his mouth. The bread Noya handed him serving only a little to stop the pain. You really have a cat's tongue, don't you? What do you mean? This would take out anyone. With a smirk curling his lips, Noya switched their meals the way they were before and took a spoonful, gulping it down without much issue, and Asahi coughed. You really are a little demon. It had been a while since they were part of any challenge, and yet Koshiki was none wiser about the reason behind Kogane's strange behavior than before. The bruises and scrapes paled and almost disappeared already, but Kogane's lips remained sealed about the incident, no matter how Koshiki tried to pry it out of him. It was frustrating, to say the least. Frustrating, worrying, and a little heartbreaking, since Kogane apparently didn't trust him enough to share his struggle with him, and he couldn't understand why. They were engaged for goodness sake. They were supposed to share their inner turmoils, especially after last time. And yet, Kogane remained unresponsive to the matter. Now the question is if he'll even respond to the challenge. He might just ignore me like before. He sighed, a sudden chill running through his body. It wasn't that Kogane would ignore him or was cold to him, not at all. But there was a clear, invisible barrier that built itself between them after that evening. Let's try and hope it's not going to make him upset, I guess. He put the plates to their respective seats by the table and took a stabilizing breath before calling for his fiancée. Looking more sullen than in the last week, Kogane no less than slumped on his chair, only grumbling a quiet "thank you for the food" before he started eating, his eyes telling Goshiki he was somewhere completely else in his mind. That's not a good sign. It's actually a pretty bad sign. But maybe he was just overthinking it. Maybe he just needed to spin some conversation and things would improve, at least momentarily. Kanji? Would you mind if we switch the food? I think I mixed them up. He added the last bit to not sound insensitive, but judging by Gogone's expression, it didn't matter anyway. Sure, whatever. Kanji, is something going on? You are so out of it today. He was moving on a very thin ice, and judging by the silence that settled between them, he might have made the first cracks in it. Why do you think? Well, you weren't acting like this before. You didn't even wait for me to start eating too, and I can see you are somewhere else mentally. What's wrong? What happened back then that... He flinched when Gogone's arm fell heavily on the table, his heart jumping into his throat. This again? I told you to leave it be. How can I leave it be when you are acting like this? Even if you were completely normal, I would still be worried about what happened to you. He wanted to say so much more, ask until he finally got the answers he needed. But his voice died off in his throat when Kogane got up from the table. You can have my portion too, since you wanted it so much. Kanji. But Kogane was already away, the loud bang of the main door telling enough about how the challenge went. He folded his head into his palms, trying so hard not to cry his teeth started to hurt. The only chance Iwaizumi would have to do this challenge would be the time they finished with everything for the day and opted to watch something on the TV and raided their snacks cabinet. As of recently, the times they watched something together had been rather sparse, though whether it was because of their busy schedules or because they still took it slow with getting back into their previous rhythm relationship-wise, he wasn't entirely sure. Maybe a combination of both. Oikawa definitely looked like a deer caught in headlights whenever he suggested snuggles, even though it was getting better these days, much to his relief. He didn't want to punish Oikawa for mistaking him for someone else, nor return the pain he felt when he realized how little was enough to wreck Oikawa's trust in him. It was behind them now, even if the memory still stung a little. Thinking about it, challenges like this were an awesome way to bring them closer again, and he definitely wasn't going to miss out on the opportunity. Come on, it's starting soon. Yeah, it would go faster if you didn't order like in some restaurant. Iwaizumi chuckled at Oikawa's grumpy tone, but he couldn't possibly tell him the reason behind his snack order. I'm just hungry. Yeah, then fetch it yourself. Your legs work well, don't they? As much as they can. He was glad they could shoot light jokes on his legs nowadays without Oikawa getting eaten alive by guilt at the reminder of his fall. Finally, after almost 2 years. He gently nudged Oikawa's side then and took some of the bags from his hands, waiting for a little while before he leaned against Oikawa's shoulder. Can I get yours? I like them better. Oikawa gave him the most betrayed look he could ever imagine. The little whine he let out as he shielded the snacks in his arms, almost making him burst out laughing. But I like them too. He bit his lip, his gaze falling to the packets, and then he reluctantly handed Iwaizumi 2 out of 3 of them. I'm keeping this one though. Smiling, Iwaizumi leaned over to steal a kiss from him before leaving the packs in between them. You don't have to hoard. It's ours, not just one of us. Huh, you don't say. Despite his tone, he suddenly looked rather shy, his pink-colored cheeks betraying the impact the simple kiss had on him. Unable to resist the temptation, Iwaizumi added one more, very much enjoying the crimson spreading into the tips of his fiancée's ears. While for the most part, he really wanted the others to have fun with this challenge and maybe tease their partners a little bit, for him, this challenge had a different reasoning. It wasn't anything solid he could point at that made him consider a task like this, but rather an invisible feeling creeping up his spine whenever they ate together. And with the recent increase of number of moments when Taichi wasn't feeling well, he couldn't ignore even the faintest feeling of wrongness. Although it seemed like Taichi's health stabilized in the last month or so, he wasn't as pale anymore, didn't feel faint, and hadn't suffered with any new bruising as far as Hayato could tell. However, he did start to eat less than before, which was the first thing that caught Hayato's attention. Maybe it was silly to worry about it, but he would rather Taichi saw him as an overly worried idiot than risk him getting hurt or sick. And so he took advantage of Taichi's new work schedule and prepared a meal they both liked for dinner, but intentionally gave himself a bigger portion, which was something that wouldn't raise an eyebrow. Not when it came to Taichi anyway. His husband was used to a lot at this point. Tai? Come on, dinner's ready. It didn't take long before Taichi waddled out of the bedroom, obviously still trying to shake off sleepiness from his body. Already? Yeah. Did I wake you up? No, just made me move. He smiled softly and stretched, his eyes getting much brighter. It's alright. I didn't mean to fall asleep for that long anyway. It's good you are getting some extra rest. He motioned for Taichi to sit down, stealing a kiss from his lips as he put the incorrect plate in front of him. Thank you for the food. Thank you for the food. Oh, wait. Taichi paused with the chopsticks already by his mouth, blinking in surprise, but fortunately he didn't look startled in any way. What happened? Nothing. It's just... Would you mind if we switch the food? We have the same thing. On the surface, yes, but the contents are different. I like yours a bit better. He tried to look as sheepish as he possibly could, giving Taichi his best puppy eyes in hopes he wouldn't think too hard about the nonsense he just said. To his happiness, it seemed to work exactly as he hoped for, as Taichi switched their plates then, apparently not noticing the difference in portion sizes. Hayato grinned to make absolutely sure it would stay that way, leaning over the table to capture Taichi's free hand. Thank you, sweetheart. Taichi chuckled softly at that, apparently not bothered in the slightest by Hayato's weird ideas. No problem. Is everything okay now? Yeah, more than okay. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. So yeah, as I said in the intro, I really crave some angst after all this fluff. I know it probably doesn't seem like it, like the fluff content, but I was really wholesome this past 2-3 months, so we need to even the scales a little bit. If you have any requests or ideas, the request form is linked in the video description. See you next time!